Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very welcome. Well, today we've got a map which is technically very sound indeed. It's from an area of the world that we've been patchworking together in kind of jigsaw puzzle pieces. It's the southern coast of Norway. We've done places like Kristianstad and such, and yeah, we're slowly but surely putting all these bits and pieces together. Now, the map is, as I say, very solid and very sound. It does have a few minor technical issues that will not bother any of the experienced players out there, but I'll try and mention them as we get to them. Most of them are at the beginning of the show, so don't worry too much on that one. Speaking of the beginning of the show, the thing we normally begin with the show with is a daily reminder, so I've got one right now for you. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Arendal Norway by ShakeALeg. Hopefully Arendal is about the correct pronunciation. Total guess on my behalf today. ShakeALeg's first time on the channel, and there's your start square, pre-built little bit of infrastructure there. Yes, obviously the thumbnail is taken by night, so much as yesterday's was as well. There's your terrain heights, terrain party map. It's very undulated but very buildable undulated. Resources are there, they're not the strongest, but let's see a little bit more fertile land if at all possible. And then Sunset Harbour, if you have it and you want to do some fishing, this is what your fishing map looks like. Off to the workshop. It's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. One required item on the right, the leafy tree set, and then in the description you also need the ultra low poly oak trees from Pidelmo and the unlimited trees mod. You will also want Stray Cats Territory Homecoming theme, and we'll be using the realistic 1.2 LUT. Now, one of those technical things I was telling you about is quite often I get maps I can't find on the list because they're under new map. Well, today's one is under Tilholmen, Norway, and I had to do a little bit of searching through the content manager because obviously I've got hundreds of maps on my list now. I really should do a clear out. So yes, it's got a different name from the name that's been published by, and I've got to say it does frustrate me, especially things like new map. New map I see a lot on new carts. Here's our first little point of interest. The river, this is the only working river on the map. It's a little bit off, a little bit funny. We'll come back and have a look at that a little bit later and try and fix it. But yeah, it's not quite working exactly right there. It's almost right, but not quite. Okay, 2-lane highways from mass transit. This is all clean and crisp, and we'll probably see a little bit of lane mathematics come into play as well. It's one of the main reasons for using mass transit or network extensions to be clever with the lane mathematics. Now, being clever is one thing. Being clever and polished is another, and I think we've got the first bit, we've got the clever, but the polishing is just not quite there. It's not easy, don't get me wrong, getting the polished lane merging is not the easiest thing. As you'll see here, we've got like I say, the 3 lanes into 3 dropping down to 2, but it just looks a little bit janky, just a little bit. Again, it isn't easy to do. Using the Move It mod, bending segments, that's about the best you can do with it, really. The intersections are based on real life, so they are at least grounded in that kind of area. And then again, we've got 3 lanes into 3, dropping down to 2. The numbers are right, the final polish is just lacking a little bit. And problem is when you start mucking around with those segments, bending them, trying to get them to merge smoothly, that's when you start getting the glitching, and it's finding the balance. That's where the experienced player comes in, finding the right balance. Now this is very nice, I've got to say. That's a nice looking intersection. We do have a little bit of glitching on this roundabout down here, just where it's just been pushed a little bit too harsh. That would be very easy to fix as well. We're not going to do it here and now because the fixing I'll be doing today will be on that river. Again, it just looks very slick, very clean, and based on the real life location. A little bit of glitching on that part of the roundabout there as well. It's just been pushed. Shift a node or a segment, wiggle it about a bit, and you can get that perfectly fine, perfectly lovely. Okay, national roads coming down to here, to our next roundabout. We're getting close to the start square now, so these are all the little bendy, winding roads. We're actually within the town of Arendal, and I think this has all been very cleanly done, very crisply done. I've got nothing really to complain about here. It's just a question of, does this tickle your fancy? Does this say to you, I want to build my next city on this map? We pull back for the start square and the asset of the day. And the asset of the day today is the quirky asset of the week. It's Sharks by BonBonB. Now, BonBonB has been giving us a whole bunch of statues and monuments and stuff. I think this looks great. I think this looks absolutely great. There's actually a tip in the description of the item to use the painter mod to adjust the colours. Honestly, I don't think you need to. I think this is just spot on. Anyway, factoids. Because factoids. What have we got today? Gerald Ford, I've heard of him, became President of the United States after the resignation of Richard Nixon. Was a male model before he went into politics. Well, there you go. I'm going to refrain from mentioning any current politicians and how likely they would have been to have been previously male models, especially prime ministers of certain home countries. I mean, striking fellow, our prime minister. Not model material, no. I think he'd accept that. Sharks by BonBonB, today's asset of the day. There you go, and let's move, pull back, and do you know what, the rail, we've got some rail here. So going back onto the highways, because the highways we're going to be joining up with anyway. In fact, the highway we'll be joining up with in a moment. So we might as well follow the rail before it joins up with the highway. And I'd say this is perfectly adequate. There are some slight climbs and drops and undulation changes. It's just a little bit unpolished. I think that's the polished word. the correct word, it would be unpolished. It's not too bad at all. It's not too bad at all. It's perfectly adequate for the map and for the type of map that it is, for the type of player that's going to be playing this map. This is going to be fine. Would it be nice to have more rail connections? Well, possibly, but I don't know if there are any more genuinely real-life rail connections in this part of the world. I do know a little bit about the highway, though, and we'll talk about that very briefly on the second half of the show, because I obviously try and match up the roads just to see how accurate they are with real life, thanks to Google Earth, and I learnt something. And I was baffled by it at first, but I learned something. Not baffled by the map, though. This is not ShakeALeg. This is Google. So, hey, Google, thank you very much for everything that you do for me. I'm just checking to see I haven't activated my Google Home by going, hey, and then the word Google. But yes, I've managed to avoid doing that one. Anyway, the rail connects up down here. We get a double line joined up by National Road. I think we've probably done enough covering of the landmass to take a little intermission, and when we come back, we'll check out the shipping, because there's got to be some shipping.
Arbitrary Walker's debut album, Walking in Ancient Footsteps, is mind-bending electronica. It will change the way you think about time, space, and reality itself. It's like hallucinating with your ears. Wait, okay, maybe it's not quite like that, but it's still darn good music. Arbitrary Walker, Walking in Ancient Footsteps, is available wherever quality digital music is sold. CDs available on Amazon. Cover art by Poppypox. It's psychedelic. Arbitrary Walker is not responsible for bleeding ears or exploding heads. Please listen responsibly.
And so back to Arendal Norway by ShakeALeg and the shipping routes. We'd want some shipping routes because this is Norway. Norway is based on, well, shipping. Well, not based on shipping, but you know what I mean. Go back to the Vikings. They knew about ships, didn't they? They managed to find their way across the Atlantic before even the Italians. This is true. We have the water pouring up into here, where we got a potential harbour. A potential harbour location there, that's fine. And then if we head back down, and the water just feeds its way off the edge of the map. which is what we want it to do. Anyway, right, what we have in terms of water flow is none, but we do have 2 lakes in the start square, so you could draw from one and pump into the other, and if that's what you want to do, you are well and truly set. Or you could use custom assets, or whatever. Okay, we'll do a little fly over the map. I do like the available build space in the middle, clear and devoid of trees, which is also very good for the builder. This highway I was going to talk about, I had a little look at Google Earth, and it doesn't exist in the aerial view, which was taken in 2020. But if you go down to Street View, you can actually view the highway in 2019. Do take a look. Arendal Norway, take a look. The aerial view 2020, the actual building 2019, and yeah, I don't understand. Google, you blow my mind. But the highway is very new indeed. That's what I'm trying to say. What we got here is some very nice lakes. If you're interested in lakes and islands, this is probably a very solid map, especially the island being as large as this. We do have a quarry in the middle. Okay, not my favourite quarry I've ever seen, but it's a nod to a quarry, and you can just tidy it up as you're building. Again, it's a fixer-upper as you're going along without it being too much effort. And sometimes that's what you got. Sometimes it's just too much work as you're going along. Loving also the siltiness of these areas. Look at it. It's just looks muddy and dirty and mucky and silty and believable. And of course, that's a good choice of theme to get this one. I think it really works very well indeed. So what more have we got going on? We have down here, we got some little terrain glitching going on here. It's not just uppies though, we got some downies as well. Over here, yeah, we got one. These aren't the only ones, but they're the ones in the area that I'm pointing at. The map isn't completely flooded with them though, so don't worry too much. It's not going to detract from your game too much, but there might be 1 or 2 bits you want to get the terrain editor onto. We do have over here one island that is a little bit too flooded. We get the old drowned trees who have their trunks on. Yes, I promise I will be using that joke every single time we get drowned trees from now on. I think I've earned the right to use corny dad jokes. Okay, and I think we're about done, aren't we? I think we've got... oh yeah, the river. Now the river, I think it's just the way that it's been drawn out. It's just flooding its banks over on the right hand side there, and it could be just contained quite easily by raising on the left hand side where it's flooding. If we raise that area just a little bit, and it's going to be the quick job, and if we raise this area a little bit, that should contain the river back into what would be the actual riverbed. So let's do that. Open up the terrain editor, and we'll grab the leveling tool. There we go. Slightly larger brush size, so I don't have to do it several times over. Something like about there. I won't go any further. We'll just do the slope tool there, I think. Just to drag that down like so. And then the smoothing tool, just to take some of the edges off. I think that should contain the water a little bit better. Again, very quick job. That's not how I would do it if this was my map. I would spend a bit more time making sure everything is precise. And you can see how the river is now finding its way back into a main path, which should be much better. It will. I think I could do a bit more work, especially at the lower part of the river as well. Maybe widen it up a little bit down at the bottom. But yeah, there's more work to be done. But I think I've improved it from maybe a 2-star river up to a 4-star river. Okay, 3-star river. I'll be fair. Yes, it's okay. As rivers go, I've seen much worse than this, and it's definitely got some believable shape. It's quite pleasing on the eye, sort of. Anyway, what do you think of the map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Click the I button in the top right hand corner of your screen now. It'll take you to the voting page, and where you can vote for free. Okay, let's have a little look at what I think of today's map. Well, aesthetically, I was thinking, well, it certainly looks like the area. It's quite pleasing without being mind-bogglingly beautiful. I was going to go for a high 3 here. But Stray Cats Homecoming theme is a requirement for it to look like this. Otherwise you're going to end up with a vanilla looking map, and vanilla looking maps are never so pretty. So I've got to go low 3. I don't think it's going to be a 2-star map even with vanilla, but I'm going to go for a low 3. Detailing, again, it's borderline okay. Is it just shoddy enough to get 2 stars? I don't think it is. I just think it needs polishing here and there, cleaning up. I'm going to go, again, low 3. Gameplay potential for a standard map build, I think it's okay. If you want to recreate the area, I think it's okay. I don't think there's anything that really blows me away wanting to play it, but it's a solid playable map. I'm going to go middle 3, right down the middle, a pass mark, very much for Arendal Norway by ShakeALeg. Just a bit of cleaning up and polishing here and there, and you've got yourself quite a nice little map. Well done, ShakeALeg. Very nice to see, and just keep working on it. Check out other people's maps and just steal their best ideas and incorporate them into your maps, and you will become a truly great creator in no time. Today's word of the day, for those that are still watching in the last 20 seconds, the 20 and out elite is on the page now. Use that in the comments and score yourself 100 population points just for fun. And I'll be back tomorrow with the Steam Weekly Chart Show, and of course Monday with another map in the What's Map series. Thanks for watching.